Good afternoon. Thank you all so much for joining us. Is everybody ready? Everybody? Okay, good. Well, as you all know, I'm here to give an update on the deputy-involved shooting from yesterday, namely an update on how the deputies are doing. So let me start out by go ahead and giving the identifiers on the two deputies. Deputy Nathan Segala, he's been with the agency since 2012, and he's been on patrol since 2021. He was actually, and I'll give you more details later, but Deputy Segala was actually shot through the hand yesterday. He was the primary responding deputy yesterday. Deputy Nicholas Zini, he has been with the department, with the agency since 2023, and he's been on patrol since 2024, so a little over a year and a half that he's been on patrol. Deputy Zini was the one shot in the hip yesterday, and so I'll give you updates on both of them. He was the what we would call a cover deputy, or the secondary deputy arriving on scene. From what we're able to gather at this point, and obviously this information is subject to change, let me go ahead and give you the information on the suspect as well. This is going to be our suspect, Jose Arley Fernandez Solano, 38 years of age. My understanding, he's got previous charges for assault, bodily injury, family, and injury to a child. My understanding is that Mr. Fernandez Solano is a Costa Rican national, and of course now obviously is deceased as a result of the shooting yesterday, but I will give you further details on him as well. So let me back up to the report, to the deputies slide, and then I'll give you information. So what we were able to gather is that yesterday, as I mentioned to you yesterday, we received a call about 8:30 a.m. The victim had called BCSO reporting that her ex-boyfriend, the suspect, had entered her home without permission through an open door. There had been some threats ongoing between him making threats on her and her children. Yesterday, the information that we had is that he was armed with a rifle and a pistol and threatened to kill himself or kill responding deputies if law enforcement was called. Thankfully, yesterday, this victim was able to conceal herself up the street. Her and her children were not in harm's way, and she was able to make that call. When deputies made contact with the suspect, it was Deputy Segala that was able to make primary contact with him through a door that was partially cracked. Now, they were not able to see at that time the suspect, both of his hands, and so something prompted the deputies to then push their way and push the suspect back into the room. Soon thereafter, you could see a struggle on the body camera, and the suspect produces what we believe to be a handgun, a stolen handgun, and fires what we believe to be one shot. That one shot, we believe at this point, went through Deputy Segala's hand, clean through, and then went into Deputy Zini's hip and exited his buttock. So one round struck both deputies is what we believe at this point. They were able to get him down on the ground, but there was several shots fired on behalf of both deputies. At this point, we believe each deputy may have fired about 3 rounds. The suspect was shot at least 3 times that we know of, possibly 4, and he was pronounced deceased there on the scene. This gunfight, I can tell you, having seen it and having seen many like it over the years, it's pretty indicative of law enforcement gunfights. Not what many people would see on the TV shows, the cop TV shows, a running gun battle, taking span over a half mile. This is pretty indicative. Most gunfights, police gunfights, happen within about a 10-foot range, and most of them are over within 2 to 3 seconds. And that's exactly, if I said 3 seconds on this one, that would be considered a very long time. From the very first time, from the very first shot in this instance to the second to the last shot, I'm thinking a span of about 3 seconds in total. And all of this happened. When the third deputy arrived on scene, got to tell you, she did an excellent job, along with these two. They did an awesome job communicating what they needed. The third deputy on scene did an excellent job, just in the calmest voice you'd ever hear. Getting on the radio, letting dispatch know that she had an officer down, at least one officer down, because at that time, I don't think they both knew they'd been hit. Rendering aid with one hand, first aid on Zini on one hand, while Segala was trying to put on his own tourniquet, and she was letting responding deputies know that they had a suspect down. He was handcuffed after the fact, and that she was in the process of rendering aid. Once they were able to get the scene secured, these deputies were, of course, taken by by EMS to University Health Hospital, where at present, well, Zini was released last night. Thankfully, he's home and recuperating. Sigala later today, I'm being told, matter of fact, it might be right this moment, will be undergoing surgery for some significant injuries to his hand, and he's expected, I'm hoping that's still the case, he's expecting to be released later today after that surgery on his hand takes place. In accordance with our procedures, they'll be placed on administrative leave for some time. Once it's determined by Dr. Naus, our staff psychologist, that they are ready to come back, they will come back to limited duty, to administrative duty for some time after that, until such time as the investigation reaches a certain point. Let me reiterate, at this point, I believe these deputies did their job well. They did it honorably, and I don't see how there's anything that anybody could have done any differently on their part. I'm very, very proud of how they reacted to this situation and how they handled it, and thankfully that they're both still alive and able to tell about it to this point. The suspect in the case, I will be honest with you, there's a lot of information on this. What we know on him is that he is, again, a Costa Rican national that has been deported at least one time. He's got various arrests. At this residence, going back to early 2024, January 2024, we've got about 22 different calls for service just at this residence alone. He's been arrested numerous times for domestic violence related type charges. And unfortunately, some of those cases have been dismissed. The latest case, so as of yesterday, he did have 2 felony warrants in association with the latest case that happened in October. There was a domestic violence related type case that happened in October, and he had 2 active warrants for that. There have been attempts made to try to place him into custody since then, but unfortunately we were not able to find him until yesterday when they were able to make contact with him, and we know how that situation worked out. I can't go too much into detail on how many arrests and when he was deported and how he came back. Some of those we don't know, but again, I could spend, based upon the number of records that I have in front of me right now, we could spend the better part of this afternoon just going line by line on this. And at this point, I just think it's too much information to try to get out there. We'll get that information out as soon as we're able to do so. But suffice it to say, this gentleman does have what we consider to be an extensive criminal history. And quite frankly, he's not somebody that even should have been in this country committing crimes or otherwise. And so, now we've got this victim and her children that are now, trying to put their lives to get back together. And of course, we've got 2 of our own heroes that are now having to deal with their injuries and to see what the rest of their career looks like. Well, we're hopeful that they both make a full recovery and are able to get back to work as soon as they'd like to. We know that they've got a little bit of recovery time to go for both of them.